Hello, I'm Howard Schnellenberger, and you're on a collision course with the Red and the Blue Review.
And the time is right now. Howie and I are going to talk to the one guy who's had experience as the Kentucky football player and the Louisville football coach.
The Red and Blue Review is brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvement Company, the Bachman Auto Group, Sam Swope, SWAT Team Pest Control, Joe's OK Bayou, PNC Bank, Allstate Ford Truck Sales, and the Ali Center.
Welcome to the Red and Blue Review, and we have just pulled off the greatest trade in sports history. We have dumped Darrell Byrd, who just writes for Kentucky, and we've added a guy who is an All-American football player at Kentucky. Welcome, Howard Schnellenberger.
Appreciate that very much.
Absolutely, yeah, we made a good trade.
Howard Schnellenberger is going to join us today, along with Howie Lindsay of CardinalSports.com.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute, let's stop everything. This is the first time I've ever been on the TV program with another Howard.
Hey, too much Howard for this.
It's the Howard zone.
I always say you can't have enough Howard.
Now, we call him Howie. Does anybody ever call you Howie?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
No, they wouldn't dare.
I still call him Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad is Howard, and actually his dad was Howard, so they had to differentiate.
Now, one of the interesting things about Coach Schnellenberger, of the many things, is you're one of the few guys that has a deep footprint in both the Kentucky football programs and also, obviously, the Louisville football program. Coach, was it ever close for you, instead of doing all your work here in Louisville and helping this program, to becoming the head football coach at Kentucky? How close did that ever happen?
Well, there were two times. I can't remember exactly the year, but there was two times that we really got down to talking about it. And each of the times, one of the times it was not in my best interest to make the choice. Wasn't the right time, put it that way. And the other time, it wasn't right for the University of Kentucky. There's been a lot of other times that it's been talked about, it's been bandied about, but there was a time that it was possible. But that's the whole key to this whole thing is timing. In this situation with Charlie right now, timing is everything. Is this the right time? And there's so many variables involved that it most probably isn't the right time.
Coach, I'm going to ask you to think if history had have changed. Let's say that instead of you coming to Louisville, you would have brought that passing offense that you had to the SEC at that time. You would have revolutionized the Southeastern Conference in Kentucky football.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know this, that I would have revolutionized their recruiting because I would have done the same thing there that I did here, was to obviously recognize that the University of Kentucky is in a very strategically important position geographically to be a great power, because as I've told the many fans in the inner circle of my founders here at Louisville, that Louisville is a day's drive of half the population in the United States. And that's a great, great asset, because the numbers of athletes, great athletes, are determined by population. It's a geographic.
It's a numbers game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a probability.
Yeah.
And then take this fact that we're within a day's drive, like we did here. We would get 4 or 5 out of Chicago. We'd get 2 or 3 out of Cleveland, Pittsburgh, swing around with 1 or 2 out of the Washington, D.C. area, down to Atlanta, around to Birmingham, to Memphis, St. Louis, East St. Louis,
Right.
and even as far up into Minnesota, St. Paul and Minneapolis, and that's a fan base that's Rutgers has done. West Virginia has done, and even up Penn State and all of them. If you look at every school in America, east of the Mississippi, there's going to be a third of their team from Florida.
Now, Coach, when you were recruiting for the University of Louisville, you didn't have this great facility here. You were in an old baseball stadium. Now, I've heard stories that you recruited kids and they never saw the stadium until they played there.
You're absolutely right. Why bring them in there? What we did when the football season is over is what's in session, basketball.
Right.
And we would bring them over to Freedom Hall, and we would blow the horns and have the stand and everybody ready to cheer. Every one of them came here. I think we may have been the team that got the NCAA to disallow any announcement of players watching
recruiting
basketball games.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear that in some way you were able to use Louisville's basketball success to build football.
Absolutely.
How come Kentucky hasn't pulled it off then?
Because you haven't heard what Bozich has been writing on my behalf in the paper. You've got to understand that if you want your football team to be great, you have to expect what you expect of your basketball team. You have to give it the same financial, the same spiritual, the moral, the ethical support, and it has to be as accountable as basketball. And the fans will respond to that, absolutely. And whether we would have been successful, only God only knows, but we would have. That's the direction we would have gone.
That's certainly the case here at Louisville, where you've got football and basketball on fairly equal footing, and they've both got beautiful facilities now.
There was one moment in time where we scared Denny Crum to death.
Absolutely.
Now, when you look at some of the more recent news that we've had here at the University of Louisville, they're going to make this move to the ACC. In fact, Tom Jurich and Dr. Ramsey both say moving to the ACC is a perfect fit for the Cards.
It's an important day for the University of Louisville family, for the University of Louisville community. The Atlantic Coast Conference is a conference that has a great tradition, a great history. It's a conference that it has a proud athletic tradition, but it's also a conference that's made up of truly outstanding academic schools.
And I think this opportunity coming forth for us, we couldn't ask for a better fit. We go into a conference that can accommodate all 23 of our sports. We don't have to find new homes for some sports, be affiliate members of others. It's a great opportunity for them.
So Howard Schnellenberger, ACC and CARDS, are those a good marriage, Louisville and the ACC?
Oh, absolutely. And there's only one place that could possibly be better.
Which is?
The Southeastern
There you go.
Conference.
Hey, we take that in a heartbeat. I don't think SEC's off.
Well, anyway, look at who's accepting bids there, and look who is not being invited.
Right.
Look who wins the championships, not only in football but in basketball and other sports. And that's rightful because it's south of the Mason-Dixon line and in the heart of Dixie, and that goes hand in glove with the great game of American football.
Coach,
when you think of that conference that includes Florida State and Clemson and Miami, and those are teams you're very familiar with. Would you have loved to play that kind of?
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about getting a money game like we did so many times here at Louisville. How many money games did we play here that we couldn't win? But when it prepared us for the time that we were man enough to measure up to those teams and play the game. Of course, at that time I was strictly an independent guy and fought the battle as long as I could. And when the university decided to make that move into the what was it?
CUSA.
CUSA?
No, it was a Conference US.
Yeah, I think it was Conference USA, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Early
Conference
90s.
USA.
Yeah.
I couldn't win the national championship with that, and so I couldn't justify me asking players to come into that little Cardinal Stadium over there in this little two-bit football team we had, and win the national championship. I had promised them that that was our goal, and that's what we would try to do. And with that being taken away, then it was time for somebody else to take over.
When we come back here on the Red and Blue Review, the coach starting to hint at the most famous phrase he uttered as the Louisville football coach was the collision course with the national championship. We'll talk to him about the genesis of that when we come back on the Red and Blue Review.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Did you know that 2/3 of all truck-related crashes are actually caused by cars? Large trucks carry heavy loads and need more room to stop than cars. Merging without leaving enough space between you and a truck could cost you a ticket, or something much worse, your life. Law enforcement will be out on the road writing tickets to make sure both truck and car drivers stay safe. Before merging, be sure you can see both of the truck's headlights in your rear-view mirror to ensure proper braking room. This message brought to you by the KSP Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Hold on.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
We didn't always watch football at Buffalo Wild Wings.
So great to see you guys outside the office.
So you brew your own beer?
Yeah, for you, bratwurst beer, and this one's a secret. Drink up. This one's ready in 2 minutes.
Protect the football. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. As we mentioned earlier, we've finally gotten rid of Daryl Bird, and we've got a great replacement, Howard Schnellenberger, a former Kentucky football player and obviously a former Louisville coach. And as we went to break, you were going to correct me because I didn't give you the full correct quote on the collision course at the national championship.
Well, I knew
right?
you knew it, but you were just saving time.
Exactly.
But I think it's very important that all our folks remember back to the days when we said that we were on a collision course with a national championship, and the only variable is time. And thank God we did take it that way, because this program and this university has held on to that very tightly and have used that as the rallying cry for its donors. That's a train going by.
That's victory approaching.
There it is. And not only the benefactors, but the fans and everybody else. The variable is time. And in that Orange Bowl game against Wake Forest, they were right on the verge of winning the national championship.
How did you get the idea for that phrase? Where'd that come from?
It's in the still of the night. God gives me all kinds of instructions.
Yeah.
In the still of the night.
Now,
while I'm sleeping.
How much courage did it take for you to actually say it? Because, I mean, you came into a program, as we mentioned, with a terrible football stadium, practically no tradition. There was a concern they might even shut the thing down, and here you are talking about a national championship.
Well, I had to do something in Miami, and I used the term, we're going to win the national championship in 5 years, and lo and behold, on the last day of the 5th year, by 1 point, we beat the crap out of Nebraska and jumped from number 5 in the nation to number 1. What a playoff system.
Yeah. Wow. Wouldn't have been in that playoff, way back when.
No, So I thought it would bode well here.
Did you believe your own hype, Coach?
Of course I did.
You really believe they could? Okay.
You think I would say anything?
Well, I'm asking you the question.
What does that say?
It says you gave me one. In fact, it says to believe. Let's see what's it say.
To be strong.
To believe is to be strong.
Yeah, that's right. Everything I ever write, every time I finish a speech, I leave them behind with, to believe is to be strong. That's the rallying cry of anybody that wants to be as successful as they can be.
The remarkable thing about those phrases is they were, 2 decades ago, right? They're quoted every day on CardinalSports.com. They're quoted by Louisville fans all the time. They love those phrases. And I think the first one, the collision course with the national championship, the only variable is time. The inherent hope that is contained in that phrase, the inherent optimism that's contained in that phrase is just remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, it says, it's a belief statement that Louisville fans have rallied around.
Yeah, once you win 3 in a row, you're on a collision course.
Coach, realistic expectations. Louisville now is in a conference that we believe has some foundation to it. I mean, we never know how everybody's going to come and go in all the conference realignment. Is it realistic? And what has to happen for your vision to come true that this place would one day host the national champions in football?
Well, whoever's coaching here, whether it be Charlie Strong or someone else, they have to come in here believing what I believed and believing what any head coach has to believe. And that is, I'm going to a place that realistically and truthfully will give us the resources to work as hard as we can and to have a realistic chance to win. And then you have to diligently go out and bring in together a group of 9 guys and other group of staff that believe in me as a person, the coach as a person, and believe in the same things that I believe in. And then from there, you go out to the recruiting battlefield and pick out the guys that may not be the greatest players, but are solid players, winning players, who put team above self, recognize that it's going to be a long and hard struggle. We have to work harder than Notre Dame and Alabama, and that's doable because they're human and we're human. And if we've got the right stuff and are willing to lay it on the line long enough, you can attain equality. And once you get to be equal, then it's in God's hands. It's in God's hands. There is no way in the world that we could have won the national championship over Nebraska on that second day of January of 1983 if God didn't have a plan. Because we were number 5 and we were playing number 1, hadn't lost a game in 22 starts, 17-point favorite, Heisman Trophy winner, Outland Trophy winner, first-round draft choice, a team that outweighed us over 20 pounds a man on average throughout the team, and there was no way in hell that we had a chance to win. Number 2 got beat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Number 3 got beat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And number 4 got beat at 8:30 when we were going to start the last game of the day at 9 o'clock. Can you imagine the invocation of God? God is deciding who's going to win the national. No, not win the national championship. Who's going to play for the national championship? Right. And lo and behold, we play them. We are never behind in the game. We get them 17 to nothing. They come back and tie it 17 up. We come back and score 14 more to get 31. They come back and score 13 to get 30 with 16 seconds left in the game. And they go for 2, like rightfully you would have to do. In that situation, he had no choice. Right. Everybody says, did he make a great choice? He made his only choice. That's right, yeah. And they ran their best play. We were in our best defense, and by the flick of this finger and this finger, Kenny Calhoun jumped over the top of the back, got his hand on the ball, and deflected it away. And yet they still had an opportunity to kick an onside kick. And they kicked it right to us, just like God's so divine. and we win the game and became the darlings of the world. David can rise up and defeat Goliath.
Yeah. Howard, you talked about what is possible at Louisville. What's really possible at Kentucky in the Southeastern Conference?
I don't think there's a bit of difference between
really?
that.
Okay.
Don't think, what do they have less than Louisville has?
Right.
You know what they have less than Louisville?
What?
A spirit of can-do. There have been in the past. They're pessimists. Why should we espouse to such greatness? And that's cheating. That's cheating, first of all, yourself, but most of all, your players, your coaches, the families, the fans, everybody, and even their God. God so said the man should do the best that he can do. And what is the best that a coach can do or a team can do? And that's to win the national championship. If your goal is not to win the national championship, then you're stealing. Your salary, you're stealing.
One of the things that Mark Stoops talked about when he became the new coach at the University of Kentucky is for the Cats to aspire to do what Coach is talking about. He says you got to do it with defense.
You know, I'm a defensive guy. This is the SEC. You know, it's a very physical conference, and I realize that. And I want to be tough, and I want to be physical. And, you know, we have to build this foundation with great defense. There's no way around it. If you don't play great defense, you're not going to win consistently. Yeah.
He didn't do that while we were
the big plane just flew over during the soundbite. Well, Coach Stoops says, the new Kentucky coach says, you got to win with defense. You're kind of known as an offensive guy.
No.
Is he right? Do you have to do it with defense?
Yes, you have to do it with defense.
Yeah.
You got to win. You got to have a platform of defense so that you win in the ordinary situations, when you're playing the ordinary people. When you're playing the people that are better than you are, then your offense has to have the ability to make the plays in the big game to win the championship.
So defense for every game,
yeah, well,
offense for the big game.
You know where I learned that?
Miami Dolphins.
Adolph Rupp.
Really? Adolph Rupp, really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was a big fan of his. I was a big student of his. I used to go watch him. I was one of the only guys he'd ever let watch practice.
Really?
And you ever read his book?
I have not. I should.
He says very clearly in the first chapter that you have to be consistently good on defense. You have to be superior on defense, because there are days that the damn ball is not going to fall in the hole. You're going to shoot 32%. Yeah. And if you don't have a sterling defense, you're not going to be in that game.
Makes sense.
And that's what I'm talking about. You got to play defense or you're not in the game.
When we come back here on the Red and Blue Review, the coach has saved some wins at both programs. When he comes back, we're going to tell you how he's involved in saving the lives of your kids in the car. That when we continue here on the Red and Blue Review, and we break with Howie telling us about CardinalSports.com.
Absolutely. For Louisville fans out there, we take you inside the locker room, all kinds of video and that kind of thing after each game. Check out CardinalSports.com.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review here. Howie, quit texting. Good gosh, don't you ever put that thing down.
I've got work to do.
Joe Riano, this is part of the problem, and people are texting way too much even when they're driving, right?
Yes, they are.
Joe has invented or created an app that you and your teenagers need to know about. Joe, tell me a little bit about this app that you've got and how we can get it.
This app is freesafetext.com. You can go there and you can download it. And what it does is it turns your phone, when the GPS hits 10 or 15 miles an hour, it turns your phone into an answering machine.
Okay.
It auto-responds for you. It doesn't interrupt the sound, doesn't make the sound that you normally get when you beep when you have a message. So it sends back an auto-response, says, I'm not available right now, I'm driving. I'll get back to you later. Then when the teenager or the driver gets out of the car, they respond to the message as always.
So now, does the phone part of it work? You can make and receive calls?
Correct. You can still receive calls if you like to. If you like to, you can block calls and respond to those as well.
And it's really a disaster on the highways right now without this app, isn't it?
It's 23. You're 23 times more likely to get into an accident with this app than without it. And it's just causing 12 fatalities a day for teenagers. You can imagine the grief that some of the parents have when they lose a loved one or they get injured as a result of an accident.
And Joe, how do we get this app again?
freesafetext.com. It's a free app, and we're giving rewards for using it.
All right. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. As soon as we finish with the show, I'm going to get it for my teenagers. And Joe, I got to be honest with you, I better get it for myself, because I tend to hear that little telltale sound, and I'll find my hand reaching up. And my kids are really good about saying, Dad, don't do that. My kids are better about this than I am, and I appreciate what you've done.
Great.
Coach, thank you as always for your time, and thank you for helping us promote this.
Thank you allowing Joe and I to be here to support this great cause.
See you next time on Red and Blue.